From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome into this Friday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning, closing your work week with a Fire Away Friday against my better judgment. We'll get
this is all on you. This is 100% on you. There was, just for everybody's knowledge, there was no text or anything. Hey, what do you think about a Fire Away Friday? I looked up and
it was an executive decision.
It was a decision made by you, and it was made apparently either right during the middle of or shortly after a 7-0 loss to Tennessee. The questions are fairly vitriolic, and I'm going to announce this at the very beginning. You asked for this. You got it. And don't look at me with hard questions and go, so, Neal?
What do you think, Mr.
Nope,
McCready?
I'm going to say, I didn't ask for this. Go for it.
Okay.
And I'm cool with it. I'm good. I know that he probably was fairly imbibed when he made this post. I was outside last night grilling. The family wanted salmon. I'm not a big salmon person. I enjoy the cooking of salmon because I do the cedar planks and stuff, and it's kind of fun. There's a process to it. I enjoy that. The weather was great. I poured some bourbon into a glass and put an ice cube in it, and I was happy. Had the Cubs and the Reds on the TV. Everything was good. But I'm not upset at Fire Away Friday, but I probably would not have posted Fire Away Friday in the 6th inning of a 7-0 game, and I'm going to let you clean up your own mess today.
I think we've mentioned this before. Salmon is actually one of my favorite proteins, but I never think to want it. It's never a craving at all, but when I get it, I go, I mean, dang, that's pretty good.
I'm the exact same way, and I don't know why that is. Like if
I see it on the menu, and I always hem and haw and kind of go, do I really want to do that? Then when I order it, it's great.
Yeah.
Almost every time.
There's never a morning that I wake up, because, everybody has these conversations. What are we doing for dinner? And now with the girls, everyone's on a different diet. Caroline's gluten-free, Campbell's food-free. Carson eats everything in the house. I'm being careful. Laura doesn't eat carbs, basically. So dinner does require some planning. I never think, what sounds good is salmon, ever.
You might say tuna.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't say salmon.
I did experiment with some swordfish yesterday.
Ooh, okay.
We'll talk about it in a minute, but it was good. It wasn't great. I think if I had access to fresh swordfish, I could make it really good. I sliced up some lemon. I had some fresh thyme. I got a little sear, and then I wrapped it, and it was good.
One of our podcast partners yesterday gave me a little tip that I kind of made fun of at first, and I said, hey, that's actually a pretty good idea. I think there's like a joke up in here too, but I'm not going to go back down an old coach route. So we've always talked about lemonade and vodka over the years and everything for the summer cocktail. Just a little hint of Sprite on top.
Really?
Kills a little bit of the tartness and gives that effervescence with the carbonation. Game changer. Completely shifts it in. Because, look, lemonade and vodka is a simple, it's a 7.5 every time. It moves it up to about 8.5. Just adds a little point to it.
Just a splash.
Just a little nip. A little nip.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
when you said former coach, I thought we were going to do some sort of Asian fusion something. I thought that's where we were headed.
Asian fusion. So many ways to go with that. Okay. Podcast is brought to you by the Blue Sky Oxford Exxon there on Highway 6 West. Get a daiquiri. It's hot outside. Stop by. Just don't put the straw in until you're actually not done operating your motor vehicle. That's the rule there. Don't put the straw in because that becomes problematic. But get the daiquiri over at the Oxford Exxon. A lot of sizes, a lot of flavors. Get a hurricane if you'd like.
Yeah.
Get watermelon. Get a lot of stuff there, as well as the lunch specials. They're $4.99, 2 sides of bread, 32-ounce drink, or some ribs on the way home for dinner tonight. Call ahead. They'll be wet or dry, packed up, ready to go for you there at the Oxford Exxon Blue Sky. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are 662-257-1900 is the number. Call the number. Ask for our friend Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's that simple. No hassle, no haggle. He wants to be your truck guy. Corey wants to be your car guy. He'll prove it to you. I've had people say, what does that mean? Call the number. Start the process. Find out. At the very least, you're going to get a baseline moving forward on a automotive purchase. And I think what you will experience is the same thing I experienced, and that is you end up back at Clark Ford, and you get a Ford product with great service after the sale, everything that you would want from a car dealer. Corey and the people at Clark Ford provide it. 662-257-1900. Tell them at the end of your deal that you heard about Clark Ford on the podcast, and you'll save $500.
So we'll just jump right in. Again, Neal said Tennessee 7, Ole Miss nothing last night. Garrett Stallings, the Vols ace, had kind of struggled in league play recently, but he threw 104 pitches in a complete game shutout last night.
It's fairly efficient.
Ole Miss put one runner in scoring position. I think they were 1 for 8 with runners on base. Of the 4 hits they got, Cole Zabowski got 2 of them. Cooper Johnson and Kevin Graham led off the 8th inning with back-to-back singles, and then Justin Bench, a pinch hitter who came in, I think he hit into an old play there to kill that inning. And Will Etheridge was okay. Wasn't great. Kind of kept them sort of in the game had they found some offense. He at least gave them 7 innings to save the bullpen a little bit, but it's needless to say, pretty critical game for the Rebels at 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern tonight from Knoxville. Doug Nikhazy on the mound. The kid from Ocean Springs, the left-hander that's escaping me, Crochet on the mound for the Volunteers tonight. And we'll see what happens. Ole Miss has lost 5 in a row for the first time since they also lost 5 in a row in April of 2016. That was a sweep to South Carolina and 2 to Mississippi State. So,
all right, I'll ask the pertinent question real quick.
Yep.
We're finally through with the host conversation. That's done. So let's move to this one. If Ole Miss were to get swept and lose on Tuesday in Hoover, how much biting of fingernails would be involved in terms of just making the tournament?
I think they would probably be okay. You're putting yourself at least at the discretion of the committee a little bit. You probably are moved down from a 2 to a 3, probably, in my opinion. Now, again, we're not in a vacuum. You got to know about bid stealers and all that, just like basketball. It's the same thing.
Yeah. There's no way to definitively answer it.
But, no, I think you're reasonably safe. But you could be that team that wakes up and goes, "Whoa, we've got a problem today."
But one win in Knoxville takes all the doubt away, right?
There's no way a 16-14 team in the SEC is not making the NCAA tournament because their RPI, as of right now, let me find it. Well, this is basketball. That would not help me with RPI very much, would it?
Probably not. I'm going to guess.
So?
I'm going to guess the basketball RPI will not factor into the baseball bracket.
Ole Miss is at 30 right now. 32-22, 15-13, 30 RPI. Now, give them a win today, and that probably jumps 2 or 3 spots by itself because you're playing a road number 10.
Right.
So I think, just by itself that would help. But no, I mean,
Tennessee's playing their way into the tournament, though.
Yeah, I think they're in now.
Yeah.
And sorry.
It's okay.
Jesus.
Dear Chase's friends, please stop texting and calling between 8 and 9:30.
It was actually related to the topic we're discussing. So that person can continue to text. It's fine.
That's fine.
Yes, that's fine. It just caught me off guard when I saw it in the top right of my screen.
The people who are providing information, we would like for you to continue to text. Those of you who are asking for information, I'm begging you to refrain from about 7:50 until about 9:30 each morning.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And no, I'm not repeating the text message on air.
Nor would I have asked you to.
Yeah, so anyway, look, your RPI gets around 34, 35, and in the SEC, you've got a little bit of a problem. I mean, you're probably okay, but there have been teams that have been left out at better numbers, so put it that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just win a game. Just win a game. I mean, at some point, show some life and win a baseball game.
Yeah.
Which is what they haven't done for 5 in a row. I mean, hell, had they just beaten Arkansas State, they would be in no matter what happened. Had they not blown a 5-run lead with 6 outs to go, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Because that cost them multiple RPI points.
But they lost.
There. That's my point.
Yeah, right.
I mean, every one of these times, it's like, well, just do something. Just do something.
Yeah.
I mean, so, yeah, they could even go to Hoover and beat Kentucky or South Carolina or whoever the hell it is on Tuesday and, again, be fine too. At this point, though, it might be Tennessee again because the way they're falling, other teams are rising and whatever. because the 5 seed plays one of those 3, Bama, South Carolina, or Kentucky.
Gotcha.
It gets a little jumbled after that because everybody's all in a mess. So, yeah, they're probably okay. And that was a question on here, so we can kind of
I just was getting to it. I know there will be people that would want to hear your thoughts on that quickly.
Yeah, they're just win a game. One more win anywhere, you're fine.
Okay.
Don't lose. Like I said, winning is, better than losing. Game 3 against LSU wasn't perfect, but what happened to cause a complete collapse since then? It's not one thing. There's not some crazy thing that started the whole deal. What happened was their bullpen has been bad over the last 5-6 games. That cost them games at Mississippi State, or at least kept them out of games they had a possibility to win. Starting pitching hasn't been good enough, and their offense has been non-existent. It's been a little of everything, and it's because this team, I don't even know that necessarily that it's not tight in the traditional sense that we think of, oh my God, I've got to get a hit, I'm going to grip the bat as tight as possible and scream. I don't think it's that. I think this team thinks too much. I think that's a lot of the outside elements get to this team a little bit. We had the discussion all year long, has this team recovered from Black Monday, if you will? And it's a lot easier to recover in February and March than it is to recover when it starts mattering again, because even early in league play, it doesn't really matter. Everything's cool. It's fine.
Sure.
There's pressure. Kids are on Twitter. Kids see what's being said about their head coach, whether Mike's in a bubble or not. The kids know it. I think the entire environment and atmosphere is causing some additional thinking, and you have kids – you just have kids pressing. You have kids pressing constantly, and, you've got some bullpen guys that have been not even necessarily overworked. I think Mike has at least managed the inning totals pretty good all season, but they're kind of the only guys. There's not a lot of depth back there. It's the same dudes over and over and over again, and everything's magnified when they can't have a bad outing. When they have one bad outing, or, the offense just isn't hitting right now. Garrett Stallings has been, frankly, bad 2 weeks in a row in SEC play, and he was good last night. Again, credit to him, he was really good.
Sure.
But Ole Miss never pressed him. Ole Miss never forced the issue with him whatsoever.
They let him get really comfortable.
Let him get change-ups in on him all day long. They look change-up, fastball goes by him. I mean, he was phenomenal at just mixing pitches, but you allowed him to do that in some ways as well. And if you're a pitcher and my offense isn't scoring, I've got to be perfect. One pitch in the wrong place, and he hits it out, and now we're screwed. It's all this stuff. So, no, it's an avalanche effect. It's everything piling on top of itself. And frankly, this team was built on offense, and the offense is not producing. That is, there's lots of issues. It's not just on the offense, but the offense is predicating this fall in these last few games, because even Tuesday, I keep going back to Arkansas State because I do think that was a huge game. I get that they blew a 5-run lead with 6 outs to go. That should never happen. They also had 8 hits against Arkansas State. Go win the game offensively. You beat them 15-3 in Oxford. Don't leave a doubt. Don't give a chance for that. Don't make Mike have to throw Parker Caracci and Austin Miller against Arkansas State on a freaking Tuesday. Don't do that. So it's everything, but I do think it comes back to offense, because to me, where a lot of teams, it's the Friday night pitcher or the arms make a team go. I think the offense makes this team go and makes everybody else play better.
Yeah, my 2 quick thoughts on it are, they won the game, so it got glossed over. They blew a 6-run lead in the 9th inning on that Sunday against LSU. On a day when your offense scored 15 runs, you still needed extra innings. That's a problem. It got glossed over that night because they won the game. And then the second thing, I saw people post on the message board that the kids don't care. I disagree. I think the kids care too much.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Yeah. Have kids very, very aware of everything.
Yes.
And awareness is not good on the macro.
Yeah. I think they have kids who care way too much.
Yeah.
They'd be better off if they didn't care. Just go play.
I have no idea on this, but I'll go through the questions. So I'll ask it to you. Maybe this is a referral to Mr. Johnson. If there's a winning season in football, is there a shot at the top 20 class?
Ooh, I don't know. I'd have to. I don't know. Yeah, probably. If they win in football, they're going to have a lot of positive momentum. If they win in football, it means some things really went well. That's what that would mean.
SEC school that wins some games has a shot at a top 20 class just by – I mean, they didn't miss that by much this year, and they missed on some really key targets down the stretch. So, yeah, it's feasible. Anything above that, I would be a little more hesitant without knowing more about the situation because I don't know much about the situation at this point. But
I don't think this is going to be a big class. I don't think they have a ton of numbers. So, I don't know.
Is Ole Miss a softball school now? Well, they're going to play a regional at home today, and Mike Smith's done one hell of a job. I will give him credit. And, it's kind of one of those deals where as long as your method wins, it's kind of like with Mike early on and everybody, it's seen as a really big thing. Mike Smith apparently is a very tough coach to and I don't mean a bad way. I just mean a very disciplined coach, and he's getting a lot out of his players. You've got to, and he is winning. You've got to win to kind of do that. You know what I memean? Like there's certain ways that you coach, you do certain things. Everybody talks about, Mike. Well, Mike coaches in a way that he's a very rhythm coach. When they start really winning and getting on rolls, that can continue. There's been really big streaks throughout his history. But sometimes when they get kind of behind, he has a hard time breaking that streak because of the way he coaches as well. So I don't know. I find a lot of interest in kind of coach insight, coach mindset, and frankly, what makes a good coach, and I think Mike struggled with this a little bit, at least with this team, because I do think he's swimming more than recent seasons, whereas, I thought 15, 16, 18 were some of his best regular season coaching jobs he's had in 19 years. I thought he was excellent in the regular season those 3 years. This year, I think, is one of his worst. I think some of it is that, you can't coach 35 kids the same way. You've got to figure out which kids need to be yelled at, which kids need to be left alone, which kids need to be coddled a little bit, frankly, and then you have to figure out that fine line of doing all those things at the same time. And I think that there's been a little bit of either, frankly, not enough variance on personalities on this team, or either how you handle that variance this season as they go through it. So
yeah, I do not believe a coach can coach every kid the same way. Doesn't work. I see that coaching a little league team.
Mm-hmm.
I got 12 kids. 9 or 10 of whom show up routinely, and they're all different. There's a couple of them that you can playfully kind of get on them a little bit, and they're cool. And there's a couple of them that you say a crossword, and it's over.
July 1st, I go to OleMissSports.com and click baseball/coaches, $1 million on the line. Who pops up? I'm just not prepared to answer that at this point. I'm not avoiding the question. I've got multiple reasons why I'm not doing that. And really none of them is like a fear of Mike or anything like that. I don't care about that. It's somewhat because I kind of need to see a little more this next week. I need to see how some stuff plays out. And B, if I had a great idea, it would do me no good to mention it on this podcast right now, frankly. So I'm doing it a little bit self-serving.
You'd be helping competition.
Yeah, you would be throwing names out to put on a hot board for other people right now, and I'm just not really prepared to do that. Let's see. Who does Parham go out and hire as the baseball head coach? Okay, let's play this game. We'll play this game.
Okay.
It's fine. All the little hypotheticals that we usually give those here. Again, because let me go through this. You mentioned this a minute ago, and I do believe this. I might have said on the podcast. We'll go strong here because I think I'm right. I think barring something that I'm unaware of that would just be catastrophic financially that I don't know, because I don't think money would be a hindrance to making a change or not making a change. I don't. I think if they decide that Mike Bianco should no longer be the head baseball coach, they can make that happen in a variety of ways financially. But barring some of those things, I do believe that Mike Bianco has to win a regional to keep his job at this point. That is my educated opinion. It is just my opinion, but it is my educated opinion. And look, could some other things happen? Sure. But as of today, as of right now, I do believe that a postseason tournament win is required to stay in this direction.
Okay.
Meaning a regional. But say it doesn't happen. What would I do? Well, look, I make Dan McDonald say no, even if that takes 5 seconds.
Okay.
He's going to say no. I think the only way Dan McDonald takes the Ole Miss job. So if you tell me, hey, there's a question later, what's the chances that Dan would take the job? Well, 1%. It would be that Louisville is doing something administration-wise to minimize the program. They don't make money off the program. Are they tired of spending $1 million a year on the program and his salary? All these things that I have no idea.
Right.
But I think it would require something where there's an unhappiness at Louisville from an administration systemic level.
Would he also require Mike's blessing?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
And to be honest, I think he would get it, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of times Mike's painted as this bad dude. Mike's not a bad dude.
Of course not.
Mike, I mean, no matter when it's over, if it's this year or in 10 years, Mike wants this program to continue to succeed. And, yeah, he would be very comfortable with Dan.
He built it.
Yeah, he would be very comfortable with Dan continuing that at that point.
Sure.
But Dan's a loyal guy. Dan likes the fact that he brought Louisville up out of obscurity, wins with them. They've been great to him.
Yeah.
He's in the ACC where he can get to Omaha if he has a good team. There's
and if
no
you make 7 figures, Louisville, Kentucky's probably a fun place to live.
He likes Louisville. It's just he just has a lot of loyalty because of what they've given him.
Sure.
Frankly, a lot like what Mike has done to Ole Miss in a lot of ways. So, yeah, you make him say no. Let's say he says no.
Okay.
There's a couple other huge names or at least names that people would know that I would call. I can't do that right now.
I understand.
I can't throw those out there. And I know I'm teasing, but I just can't.
He can't. I know who they are, and if you started to name it, I would just cut you off right now.
I can't do that.
We're not going to do other people's work.
So there's a couple names that people would really know and really be excited about. I go to them next.
Okay.
With them, I need to know staff members. I need to know the full scope of what they're doing from a staff standpoint.
Okay.
Past that. And now we're getting into the guys that people kind of know. What do you think? That kind of stuff.
Okay.
Here's what I do. I call Cliff Godwin.
Right.
I call Cliff. I think that his demeanor would be good for this program, all those things. I don't have to talk about Cliff Godwin on the podcast. Everybody knows Cliff.
He has East Carolina getting a national top 8 seed.
Yes, I think you call Cliff Godwin. You got to talk to him a little bit. Got to figure it out, see what he wants, see what I want. But he would be on my next call because Andy made a good point when he was on the podcast a couple weeks ago. If you have 8 guys on a list, you don't call all 8. You call the first one, and you get a yes or a no. Then you call the second one, and you get a yes or a no. So at any point, this is over before you even talk to those guys.
Right, sure, of course.
But I think that's confusing sometimes. I think some people think it's like a job interview where you bring in 8 dudes, and we're going to put them all in a pile. You know what I mean?
But if you called Dan McDonnell and he said yes, it's over?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Done.
All right, so
I mean, I have him ready on a plane in 10 minutes.
Okay.
He's already owned some red ties. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
After that, I'll give you one, and this was not brought to my attention, it was brought to my attention. I did not think this up, but the more that I've looked into it, I like it. My next group is kind of a list. Kirk Sarloos, TCU pitching coach. If you decide to go the assistant route, that's who I like.
Okay.
Young guy, has been at Fullerton. He's been at TCU. He's been under some really good head coaches. He's been to the College World Series as an assistant. He's a very good recruiter.
He would take less money.
Yeah, he would do a lot of stuff. I like him.
Because I will say, not to interrupt your train of thought.
Yeah.
One of the things that if you're Ross Bjork, and I do think this is a huge moment for Ross Bjork, and we're going to talk about it throughout this show, one of the things is that you do have to ask yourself, hey, are we overcommitted financially to this? And I'm not saying you are or you're not. I don't know. I'm not the person studying the books.
We'll talk about that in a second.
But I do think that's a thought. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's my point. I'd call this guy. I'd be curious. He's 51 years old. He's an SEC head coach right now.
Okay.
Steve Beazer, Missouri.
He's done a hell of a job there.
He's done a good job there. They've been very competitive. Now he had Tanner Hoke. He's had some guys, but
that counts.
He's been
You recruit those guys, right?
Do what now?
You recruit those guys to play for you.
Yeah, I don't know. He did not. He probably did not recruit him.
Okay.
He did a good job at SEMO first, and I get that doesn't really matter, but I do like to see program building, even if it's at a lower level.
Sure.
He completely turned around SEMO. He gets the Missouri job, and when I say he has no resources, he has no resources.
Right.
I mean, we joked about it the other day. They took a commercial flight out of Houston.
Sure.
They don't have any money. There's no one in the stands. They don't care. And they understand they don't care.
And yet he's done a very good job.
He's done a good job. He's making them very competitive, and he's a hell of a pitching guy. He's done a really good job assembling pitching.
Okay.
I would really look at him. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that, everybody sees Mike as old because he's been here 19 years. Mike's not old. He's 51. He's fine. No big deal.
Yeah, if Mike's old, I'm starting to get offended.
You getting a little offended?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not that much younger than him, and I feel young.
And then this is more inside baseball for kind of using a pun a little bit. Dan Hefner. He's been at Dallas Baptist for a while.
Oh, okay.
He's done a really good job. Very good this year. Very, very consistent. That's a program that really benefits, in my opinion, by SMU not having a baseball team, because you kind of got that segment of Dallas to yourself a little bit. And, I mean, obviously there's lots of kids in Dallas to play baseball. But, I mean, he is currently 36-15. He's got an RPI where he's in good tournament shape right now. And his season's at Dallas Baptist. He's been the head coach for a while, but they've changed conferences over and over and over again. But in this recent stint in this conference, 40 wins, 46 wins, 44 wins, 42 wins, 42 wins, and currently at 36 wins. He's won a lot of baseball games. He's done it by developing talent, by identifying talent, which is very necessary, and done it in the middle of everyone trying to come into your Metroplex and recruit the same kids and be nationally competitive.
Sure.
And without, I mean, look, they've done a good job for their size, but not having a ton of resources.
Sure.
You know, I don't want the guy who's never had to deal with anything but the upper crust. I want a guy that's had to kind of put some stuff together a little bit, because relative to the SEC, from a scholarship standpoint and some of that, you got to put some of that stuff together. So I want to see that. I mean, that's why I don't think, I mean, as much as the state stuff was kind of funny last year, and he does a great job of developing prospects and all this, and people get frustrated when I minimize him, I wouldn't want Tim Corbin. That's not what I need. I need somebody who's shown a little more ability to deal with the middle a little bit. So these kind of guys are probably what I would look for. I know Butch Thompson's name comes up a lot. It would be a very good hire. Very good. I'm not ready to go crazier than that, because while I got him to a super regional last year, we just haven't seen that, and now obviously Ole Miss is an easier job than Auburn. It is.
Yes.
Auburn's harder.
Yes. Because Auburn doesn't care about baseball the way Ole Miss does.
No. Ole Miss is an easier job than Auburn, but Butch is making like $950. So you're paying essentially to get him. You're paying probably at least what you're paying Mike for Butch. Not saying you shouldn't or you should. I'm just saying that's the questions that you should ask. So because of that reason, yeah, I would be interested if I get to that point to talk to Butch. But some of these other guys, for multiple reasons, stick out a little more in my head, and that's kind of where I am. I don't like bringing in a guy from the West Coast for the most part. There's a couple programs that I would identify out there, but like everybody says about John Savage at UCLA, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. I don't think he'd be a fit down here. I don't think that's just not something that I think I would do. You know, Dave Serrano, I get it was Tennessee. He was a failure at Tennessee, coming from Fullerton. There's some programs up there that I could emulate and be interested in, but like the UCLA thing always comes up, and that's not one that I would do. So that's kind of where I would start, and I think by that point I wouldn't have to go any farther. I mean, I don't think that it would require, okay, well, who's the next 10? I mean, whatever. I don't need 10. I need one.
Yeah. You the list you just gave, you'd get a coach out of that list.
Yeah, probably get 3 or 4 if I really cared.
Yeah. That would be interesting if you hired 4 coaches.
You could. We could just. What you do is you find the best coach to coach pitchers, then hitters, and you just hire 3 head coaches and pay like $4.5 million to the staff.
It makes sense. It's not my money.
Yeah, I mean, it's monopoly money, right? So you can do whatever. So that's what I would do. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Stoughton County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis, so you get local underwriting that understands your market. I'm giving Neil hand signals that he has no idea what I'm talking about.
Actually, I think
the leader in condo financing in the Oxford market, and the float down options, so you can look at the current rates, but if rates go down before you close, you get the lower rate. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
Guests joined us all week on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Patterson and Earhart, attorneys at law. They specialize in personal injury law and real estate law, but they have a general practice that can handle any of your legal needs. You're going to get one of them on the phone within the same day, guaranteed. So if you have a legal issue, or if you think you might have a legal issue, get in touch with them. 662-526-1992, or check out their website, pelaws.com. And remember, your initial consultation is free. Podcast also sponsored by Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They represent clients in more than 20 states. They have advisors in 3 states. What they do, I've seen it, regardless of your level of wealth, they sit down with you and they get all of your information. They get to listen to you. They listen to your goals, your dreams. They study your expenses. They put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that is built just for you. It's pintrust.com, PINNtrust.com. Mention you heard about them on the podcast, you get 10% off your first year's fee. Podcast also brought to you by the Westin Jackson. It's a wonderful place to stay if you are in Jackson for business, if you're in Jackson for pleasure, visiting some friends, maybe you're going to a graduation, whatever the case may be. You owe it to yourself to check out the Westin Jackson. It's a Marriott property. You can redeem Marriott Rewards points. You can accrue Marriott Rewards points. You can also restore serenity to your soul by visiting Soul Spa, and then you can check out Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, where you sip on a creative craft cocktail or enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch, and Chase and I both can tell you it is fantastic. Podcast also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. What you do with John is you give him a call. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to you and me and the commoners. So you call him and you say, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Here's how much money I've got to spend on it. This is what I'd like to get out of it. And then you go have a cup of coffee or a beer or something, and you let him do the research. He'll give you options, and no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. Check them out just off Interstate 55 in Grenada. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Master Cuts Lawn and Landscape. You know them for the premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi. You know they offer a lot more as well. They build custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces, paver patios, forestry mulching, and much more. They've recently done daylilies and hydrangeas and all sorts of stuff in my yard. They can help you out there as well. Go mastercuts.com for a free quote, or 662-607-7773. And while you're at it, I want to show them we sent you. So let's see. I have no timetable on what anything would look like, hypothetically. Again, he's not doing – there's going to be nothing done prior to the end of the season. There's no reason whatsoever to expect any decision while games are being played. That would be crazy on a number of levels. So, no, I mean, it's one thing here. And now, look, I don't like the direction. I don't like the body language. I don't like a lot of things about the way this thing's going currently. But this whole year – the postseason was all that matters. We hadn't got there yet. I mean, I don't expect much, but you know what I mean. I mean, you never know.
Sure.
It takes Mississippi State was 15-15 and finished second in the College World Series.
They were a pitch away from done.
Crap happens.
Yeah.
Crap happens, and this is all meaningless. So that's it. I mean, Ole Miss has got to play better. Don't get me wrong, but postseason's not here. So, okay, it's fine. What have former players had to say specifically about the manner in which Bianco's managed teams? How is this postseason style of managing any different than regular season? Seems like former players really enjoyed playing for him and hold him in the highest regard. It's kind of what I was talking about a minute ago. Look, guy's been somewhere 19 years. If I wanted to find 25 guys that can't stand him, I can do that. If I want to find 25 guys that love him, I can do that.
Of course.
There is not some collective. I kind of find it funny, and I don't mean this bad. I'm not talking down to subscribers or listeners. But I do find it funny to go, hey, what does the team think about Mike? Well, it's 35 different dudes. Some love him, some don't like him, some are pissed because of playing time. I mean, there's lots of crap going on. I mean, you know what I mean? We're dealing with a lot of stuff, as Crash would say.
If you've ever been on a team.
Yeah, there's stuff. It's 56 games. It's a long season. There's winning streaks and losing streaks, and somebody's not getting to play this position or this, or I'm not hitting enough. I mean, somebody's always disgruntled.
I played on a high school team where I loved my position coach, liked my coordinator a lot, and really did not like the head coach at all as a human being. And he was a legend, and I was like, oh, what a creep.
I would say I have personal relationships where I'm friends-ish with 30 former players is probably fair, something like that. And what I have found is that guys who really responded to toughness, to not necessarily being hard on them, but kind of really pushing them in critical situations, they have incredible admiration for Mike. Really, he got a lot out of them.
Yeah.
And I have found less so for the guys that needed the much quieter push, needed to be left alone, needed to be kind of coddled a little bit. And I don't mean a negative connotation to that. It just is what it is. I would have probably been like that, frankly. I would not respond well to a lot of aggression. I found that it's somewhat coaching style dependent, and frankly, it's team dependent. I mean, if you go and finish third in the College World Series, well, good luck finding a lot of 2014 guys that are going to hate Mike. I mean, come on, like it worked. But no, I can find a lot of either one of them. I had a couple players text me over the course of the weekend against State. They go, "My God, they look tight," and that was kind of the only thing. And it was almost kind of a frustration that, hey, you're playing your arch rival. It's graduation weekend, which should have been big crowds, but a lot of reasons why it wasn't. It's your last weekend for a lot of these guys, and you're not having fun. Like, that's what kind of they were really picking up on is you look like you're kind of miserable out there. Just have fun. It's baseball. They're the guys that are texting and they're going, hey, I'd kill anything for one more weekend. Hell, I'm playing, I'm doing this or that now. Let's get back out there. And I think some of it was almost kind of pensive of they're going to regret this. They're kind of going to regret the way the attitude is that they're having right now a little bit.
And then it didn't take much to get there is what was weird.
Yeah, it was. They just multiple people said, hey, they just look kind of weak right now. It looks sad. I think sad was even one of the words that was used. And you don't. It's baseball still, but that's something that has gotten pointed out a little bit. So look, every team is different. Every roster is different, and some have handled it better than others. And a lot of it takes guys who respond well to toughness and, frankly, can just kind of shake it off. And, it puts an onus on, over the years, it's put onus on different staffs to, hey, if Mike's going to be the bad guy, we need a good guy. If Mike's going to be the good guy with this guy, you need a bad guy. You need staff versatility on how to handle kids, what kids get handled by whom, and how you kind of play it out like that. So I think that Mike's managing style also requires the right semblance of assistance at times as well over the years. And that's not a criticism of Laugh or Clement right now at all. I'm just saying over a 19-year sample size, I think some of the assistance and some of the decisions from that standpoint, from a personality or a how you kind of all meld together, plays a role in it. So, let's see. Kind of scrolling down. I think there's a scenario where Cliff would take the job. Let's leave it at that for now. Tough loss at the Stanford Regional for the golf team. What are your thoughts on their season? Have you talked to Braden? I have not talked to Braden at all. I don't know if they're selling the Landshark hats, but I can find that out without much problem. Did you see how they lost, Neil? Did you read that on the board?
No.
So, and I think I'm right here. If I'm not, Chris or Kyle or somebody can tell me if I'm a little off. But I've seen a picture of what I believe to be the pheasant I'm going to mention in a second.
Pheasant.
Or bird or whatever. So, yeah, you haven't heard this.
No.
So, okay, final day. Give you a quick little rundown of how this works. There are, say, 15 teams in the regional, 5 advance to nationals.
Okay.
So 30 teams go to nationals. There's 6 regionals, and 5 teams from each go.
Gotcha.
So Ole Miss is sitting, I don't know, let's say 3 shots ahead of LSU with like a hole or 2 to go.
Okay.
For the 5th spot to get in. They're in the last qualifying spot. LSU's right behind them. So one of their kids, I think they're freshmen, who'd been playing really well the whole tournament. All he's got to do on this hole is make his par 5, and all he's got to do is make a 7 in the advance.
Okay.
Now, there's some other guys playing around him. He might not have known it at the time, but he had to make a 7 to advance. And 8 forces the playoff, and a 9 loses. Or whatever they do the playoffs, I don't know.
Okay.
So he hits his drive, melts it right down the middle. Get down there, they can't find it. It's wet. Did it implode? I found out later they think it ran through the fairway and just like barely got off in the fescue or something, but still should have been found. They looked for it during their time limit, couldn't find it. Hammered it, perfect, couldn't find the ball. Ran through the fairway. I guess technically if it ran through the fairway, it wasn't perfect, but you get my point.
Okay.
So they have to go, still cool, because, hey, we just got to make a 7. So go back to the tee, you're hitting your 3rd shot. Because you hit 1, can't find it, drop 2, hit 3.
Okay.
Got me?
Yeah.
So you're hitting your 3rd shot from the tee.
Okay.
Hits basically the same shot, find it, all good. So he's going to lay up. This is where you might just quit golf even if you played golf. Still in good shape. You lay up, you hit it on, you 2-putt, that's a 7, you qualify.
Okay.
When he hits his layup shot, it hits a bird in the air.
Oh, my God.
Knocks the ball down. He ends up making a 9, and they lose by 1 shot to miss a regional. or Miss Nationals.
So they lost to a bird.
They lost because they couldn't find a ball that was in the fairway. Get rid of your second phone. Is it a telemarketer or does someone actually call that matters? Well, I don't even know how to use the damn phone. You killed it. Or you did something.
Anyway, sorry. So
yeah, they lose by one shot because they couldn't find
a ball and then
they hit a bird. I mean, look, I think some of you guys like really overplay the "We Are Ole Miss" thing, but hey, on this one, I get it.
Yeah.
It qualifies.
Yeah, Michael Thompson doesn't like it, but that's a "We Are Ole Miss" moment.
I mean, I feel for Chris, but I feel for the player because you did everything right.
Well, at least he can go to
hit
bed
good
going,
shots.
I didn't choke.
No, I hit really good shots.
That's where you can say, it just wasn't our day.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris, you can't yell at the kid. Hey, man, didn't you see the bird? No. Did it kill the bird?
Huh?
Did the bird die?
It looked like it died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best I could tell, it was dead.
Yeah.
I do believe Cliff coaches in the SEC at some point during his career. I do. Robert Pattinson is Batman. You got some thoughts?
No.
None? Who's your favorite Batman?
Dude, I'm not sure I could name a Batman.
Mine's Michael Keaton.
Okay, I saw that one. He's my favorite.
George Clooney, you like him as Batman?
I never saw him as Batman.
Did you not? Val Kilmer?
I never saw him as I saw Michael Keaton one time. I don't go to many movies. I just don't.
Well, it's been out since 1989.
That doesn't change the I don't watch many movies. I always tell myself I'm going to, and then I don't.
Okay. That's cool.
Caroline, my middle child, does not like movies, and I'm starting to think more and more that she and I are a lot alike.
A little more simpatico.
We as she gets older, we have a lot in common.
Okay. Let's see. Golf question. What kind of clubs am I currently using? I'm using a Callaway Rogue driver. I am using a Rogue 2 hybrid. I have a hard time hitting 3-woods off the ground. So I've switched to a 2 hybrid, and it has been a game changer. It has been excellent. I hit Ping G irons, although I would like a new set. Probably don't need to do that right now, but there's a little itch there. The good news, and I'm probably screwing this up on the podcast, is that, and this is probably the case for 98% of the husbands out there that play golf. Your wives would have no idea if you switch golf clubs or if you bought them out of an account that wasn't shared. Because, I mean, I don't think many wives could actually identify what golf clubs were new or used or what are your golf clubs versus someone else's golf clubs. They're probably just golf clubs. I mean, taking into account, it's not even a female thing. If I ask Neil right now, what kind of golf clubs did you play that round with? Tell me anything about them.
I have no idea.
No clue.
No clue.
Can't give me anything about any of the clubs.
Nope.
So Neil actually picked these clubs up and hit them 20 times, probably 15 times.
Couldn't tell you anything about them.
And nothing. That's kind of my point. Let's see. I use Cleveland RX wedges. Let's see. And then I am using the Peretti putter from when they tried to sell them on the website or on the podcast a few years ago. Still using the Peretti. I think Jeffrey is too. Actually, I think he's still doing that.
A little breaking news from the Columbus, Ohio Dispatch.
Okay.
Today.
Sure.
Ohio State University physician Richard Strauss sexually abused at least 177 students throughout his 20-year tenure, and university officials failed to investigate or act on complaints about his conduct from as early as 1979. Good day for Ohio State.
Wow. What is it with the Big Ten schools?
People, man, just... Yeah, someone says this is Larry Nassar 2.0.
Wow. Really no comment there. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I don't really want to get in the mood of thinking about it.
No, I don't either. I'm in too good of a mood to even go down that road. But
does Mike know he's lost the fan base? Not to the extent that it is, I don't think. Look, he's not an idiot. He has to know something is up. But no, I don't. He's not a message boarder or anything. So I don't think that he would understand the level that it's at. I really don't. I feel pretty strong about that.
You're probably right. I wonder if his family knows.
Yeah, now that I don't know.
Yeah.
Should Ole Miss fans cheer for ECU to make it to Omaha? Should a change happen? Yeah, I think Cliff is much more likely to leave should East Carolina make the College World Series. He's been very vocal about that. That's his goal is to get his alma mater to Omaha, period.
And once he does that, there is a certain degree of mission accomplished, and now you could.
It's easier to leave.
It's easier to walk.
Much easier than lose a game 3 in Super Regional and go, God, I'm right
there. Yeah,
let's just do this.
Yeah, it'd be easier to turn it over to somebody and say, I did it, and it'd be easier for people there to go, hey man, go get your money.
Yeah,
thanks.
You get 1,000 shots on a 120-yard par 3. If you get a hole in one, you get $25 million tax free. If you don't, you got 5 years in prison. Do you take the challenge?
No, I'm not making a hole in one.
It's a no, but here's why.
6 years in prison?
5. Or $25 million tax free.
I don't want to go to prison.
Okay, here's why though. I think after about 125 shots, you would lose some form. You would get somewhat tired just hacking away. So you're going to start spraying more, so your chances are limited at that point to get one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
but here's the problem. Even if they said, okay, well, you get 50 a day for 20 days or whatever. Well, that's not enough shot. You know what I mean? Like, you're quitting too soon at that point. So, also, are we moving the balls or are the balls staying on the green?
Oh, because now the balls are in the way.
Well, or can I just knock one in almost like pool?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Because there's a positive and a negative to that. The positive is if you hit one that's probably going to be a hole in one, yeah, it's going to hit a ball and ricochet God knows where. But if you have, let's say, 130 balls somewhere around the hole, there's a decent chance a ball hits and hits another ball and one of them goes in the hole somewhere.
Yeah.
So if it's just a ball has to go in the hole, period.
See, I'm not sure if you gave me 1,000 shots that I'd be able to put 10 on the green.
Oh, come on. You're okay with your irons.
Yeah, ain't that okay?
I mean, 1,000 shots at 120 yards, I'd hit the green 800 times.
Okay.
Probably.
I'd hit the green 8 times.
I think, something like that. Because number 5 out there is give or take 120-yard shot most of the time, and I'm going to hit that 4 out of 5 times.
Okay. The threat of prison for me is
well, see, you got a little in your head too now. It's not like, oh, let's just play a game where I get 1,000 shots and I'm just like, all right, fine, pop, 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 pop. Who cares?
No.
So how close would it have to be for you to take this?
I'm not doing it.
You wouldn't even chip from right off the green with 1,000.
No.
Well, you're gonna make one of those.
I don't know that I am, and the threat of prison is like,
Okay, 50-foot putt.
Think about it.
30-foot putt.
You're getting closer now, because I think if you gave me 1,000 30-foot putts, I'd make one.
Yeah, you just start ramming them at the hole, and eventually one goes in.
I'm a decent putter, in all seriousness.
Yeah, no, I know.
Think about it, but I live a simple life that prison would take a lot of that away.
Well, it would be a very simple life, Mr. McCready.
Well, no, but
forward.
I mean, my point is that the things that I enjoy are very simple, and I'd lose all of them in prison. And I don't know. Prison would be no.
Yeah.
Like even a club-fed prison is bad.
It's worse than the alternative. Yes.
Yeah, I mean.
So, I'll take our next break here and tell you about G&M Pharmacy on South Lamar in Oxford. Live local to your home or workplace. They did it for me just yesterday. I didn't have to stop by. I just brought it to me. They also offer MedSync to make sure you take your medicine when you need it every single month. They put you on a great schedule for that, and you can move your medications to them where they get to know you, they care about you at G&M, 662-236-2222. And while you're in there, stop and check in on the CBD oil. If you're hitting 1,000, 120-yard shots, you would probably need a little CBD to calm you down and just loosen you up for those
I'd have to be high as a kite.
for those efforts. You can get it under the tongue. Soft gel capsules, topical salves, or more. 42% of CBD users stop using traditional medication altogether and now use cannabis instead. No crazy side effects. Again, you can find it there on South Lamar at 662-236-2222.
Podcast also brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry's an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's a big part of Savannah Square. It's a new 9-acre development, 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square, conveniently located east of North Lamar, a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center. It will initially consist of 32 standalone detached structures from about 1,100 to about 2,400 square feet. The model home is available for you to look at 215 William Street. So if you're coming in for the weekend, maybe you're coming up sometime this summer, get in touch with Harry Alexander. Check out SavannahSquareOxford.com and then give Harry a call or a text, 662-801-5621. Podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB offers its customers the absolute best cash checking account. It's called Kasasa, and with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. They also have a commercial checking account now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. It comes with fully interactive online banking. To learn more, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. Throughout the day yesterday, many of the people in the media lied to you, and they told you that Zion Williamson might consider going back to Duke.
To avoid going to New Orleans?
To avoid going to New Orleans. It was absurd. It was...
Who started that?
National people. It was false. It was generated BS to make up talk shows. Zion Williamson never once considered going back to Duke. Maybe he would have preferred to go to New York. He will make a lot of money in New Orleans as a very young person, and in the event that he decides in 6 years that New Orleans is not the place for him, horror of horrors, he will be a multi-millionaire 25-year-old who can go anywhere he wants to go. The assumption that Zion Williamson might even remotely consider spending another year at Duke is not only the crap take of the day, it is the crap take of the week, maybe the crap take of the month, and perhaps the crap take of the year. It is brought to you by Scoopers Pet Waste Removal, LLC. Everyone loves their pets, but no one loves tracking in what your pets leave behind. You don't have to worry about it with Scoopers. For $10 a cleaning, Scoopers will clean up your yard. They'll do it on your schedule, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, or a one-time service. No contracts are required. You can cancel at any time. And if you have multiple dogs, it's just $2 for each additional dog. So if you own a condo, a home, or an apartment complex in Oxford and you'd like to deal with a lot less crap, call Scoopers at 662-506-2754 or send them an email, scoopers.oxfordpetwaste@gmail.com, to get your cleanings scheduled today. And I want to tell you about 7 South Tailgating. They're owned and operated by husband and wife duo Kyle and Jordan Thornton, both Ole Miss alums, Oxford locals. The team at 7 South are rebels through and through. They take pride in the Grove and the impact their service has on protecting, preserving, and enriching the Ole Miss game day tailgating tradition. So whether you're coming up for one game or you're coming up for all 7 games or something in between, get in touch with them, 662-321-1682, or visit their site, 7southtailgating.com.
So what did I think about the team before the season started? I think I was pretty transparent. I don't think I fluffed that up. I mean, I think I guessed. I mean, people can correct me if I'm wrong. I think I said 17-13 in the SEC.
You did.
We're close-ish to that.
You can still get it.
If you made me guess, I'm going to miss it by a game. I think they win one of these next 2 and go 16-14. But, you
worried about their pitching a little, and
frankly, the pitching has been a little better than I thought it would be because of Nikhazy. I worried about their pitching. I wasn't sold on Hoagland immediately. I thought Etheridge would do pretty much what Will's done. Will's been an under-the-radar pretty good frontline guy. You know, it's kind of a shame that he couldn't be a Saturday guy because I think he would really excel in that second-day role. But he's been good. Look, I was worried about the offense. I thought that the offense having to carry them would potentially be a problem. There were some guys that just hadn't taken the steps, and they kind of haven't done that consistently. Now in saying that, Zabowski has been excellent. He's been better than I thought he would be. Grace had an SEC Player of the Year type SEC season. He's been better, but on the whole, we said, okay, what are they going to do here? What are they going to do here? What are some of these problems? And some of these problems are bearing themselves out, and some of these problems are indicative of the guys that we always talk about this number one signing class in the country. And look, it happened. They promoted it. It's been a class that's played a lot of games at Ole Miss and won a lot of games at Ole Miss. It's also been a class that doesn't have all the guys that were in that class. Ryan Rolison would certainly help this team. He's pitching for the Colorado Rockies, or at least some minor league affiliate.
He would have helped.
He would have helped, yes. And under the radar when won, and this isn't just self-serving because I thought from day one he would be a huge help to this team down the road. Bryce Blom is playing shortstop for Texas A&M right now. He was in this class. Let's play a little math. Let's put some guys in here. Ole Miss has a hole where they can't figure out what in the heck to do in their lineup with one of the spots. It's a rotating thing. Some guys have been decent, but nobody's taken over. Bryce Blom's on this team. Anthony Servideo plays right field every single day or center field every single day if you had wanted to move Olenek. And Bryce Blom plays second base. And it's fixed. And it's there, and Bryce Blom's going to hit 280 to 300, and he's going to get on base, and he's going to do all those things. Might even give you a leadoff hitter that you kind of had a hard time figuring out along the process. That might be the most under-talked about critical thing of this team is how much of a difference he would have made for one guy who's, he's not an all-SEC player, but would have been a very steady presence in this lineup and a very steady presence that's needed for Ole Miss, and he left a week before the season was over his freshman year, sat out, and then now played at A&M. So, it's the problems that I thought were there have happened, and then there's been some other, there's been a different way to go about it. But, no, I think this team is for the most part where I thought they were going to be. I'm surprised they lost this many non-con games. I didn't necessarily think they'd go 24-2, but I really expected 6-7 losses. Not, I think 9 is where they're at right now. That's just a ton. I think that's the second worst non-conference year under Mike. I think the 15 team went 15-11, maybe, if I'm picking that out right. But either way, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Let's see. Will Brooks Koepka ever lose another major? No, apparently not. I think he's just going to win them all. I think he's going to pass Jack by 2022.
How out of touch I've been. I did not realize until late yesterday that there was actually a major going on.
Well, it's the first time it's been here. They moved it to May, so it's not where you would typically expect it anyway. The PGA is always the fourth talked about major, always the least discussed one. It doesn't have the cachet of the Masters, the U.S. Open, or the Open. I
just had no idea. Someone said, I saw it on Twitter, some at the PGA. I was like, wait, what?
There's a major.
How about that?
Tiger doubled the first hole. Yeah. Where does wind come from? You got an answer for that one?
Where does wind come from?
Yeah. How does that work?
Sounds like a Ben Craddock question on the mailbag.
It's not.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
What percentage chance of McDonald coaching Ole Miss next year? 1.
So you're saying there's a chance?
1. I mean, he's
that gif.
He's breathing and he coaches baseball, so sure, 1.
You wouldn't bet on it.
Well, I mean, tell me something I would bet on if there's a 1% chance of it happening.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to put $1 in for one spot to win $1 million, well, yeah, okay, here's a 1% chance I'm betting on. But no, I mean, of course not. Most impactful true freshman on offense and defense for football next season. You can have that one since I'm answering most.
Well, Ole Miss certainly hopes on offense it's Jerry and Ely.
True.
It's probably who it needs to be. Most impactful true freshman on defense. God, man, I'd have to pull that up. I mean, the most impactful newcomer on defense has got to be Lakia Henry. It has to be. Most impactful true freshman on defense. Is there somebody I'm missing?
Let me see. I don't really know, if you want to be honest. This is not, with my current mindset, this is not my area at the moment. I'll just be completely frank here.
Well, if I were doing the list of 50 Rebels to watch, 1 through 50 over the course of the summer, just for the sheer sake of content, I'd be better at this
Are you?
right now. No.
You're gonna do one?
No.
Neal's announcing here that over the course of July, that's what he's going to do. He's going to take them down 1 through 30 over the course of the season. Your defensive options are, he said freshmen too, right?
Yeah, they have to be a freshman. That's where I'm a little lost.
Let's see.
Probably a DB is my guess, or a linebacker. But a lot of those guys were JUCOs.
I'm scrolling through to see if anything sticks out in my mind.
It's a great pod.
I know, but I'm scrolling.
But I'm searching. I don't know.
There's nothing here that just sticks out like, oh yeah, absolutely, that dude's about to play.
No.
All the JUCO guys, but again, that's not an option.
Right.
Every time my eyes go to somebody, he's a JUCO kid.
I mean, Ashanti Sistrunk is a possibility on defense because he's a linebacker.
I mean, because they could just need a little depth there with an injury or two. Ladarius Cox, maybe. DT.
Yeah, Quentin Bivens on the defensive line. I don't know. I mean,
Quentin Bivens is running on the team.
Huh?
Isn't he? Is he in this class?
He's listed as a freshman from Waynesboro. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got to bone up on my football knowledge. I don't think a lot of true freshmen are stepping in on defense and playing. It's a lot of JUCOs they brought in. It's one of the reasons I'm just not. We get this question a lot. Give me a number of wins. People get mad when I give them my answer. The people that are in the 8 range, I don't know what you're looking at. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you'd have to talk me into 8. A lot of talking. A whole lot of talking. I don't see 8 wins.
I don't know of any openings that should something happen with Mike. That's a second level question that I can't allow my mind to go right now.
What's the question?
Where might Mike land should a change happen? I
don't
no
know.
Freaking idea.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know. 2 questions. Bill's Hamburgers or Pickles on the Hill in Amory. Country Boys or Dairy Cream? Let's see. Did you guys recognize the greatness that was Richie Contartesi when y'all covered him? That's funny. I'll give you credit. That's really funny. Ely is an Ole Miss Rebel next year, in my opinion. I have no idea in the world who the next football commit is. And the fall of 2020, is Kermit the only remaining coach out of the Big 3?
Ooh. Fall of 2020.
Yeah. Okay, is this August or is this December? I'm serious. I mean, I know I'm being a jerk, but I'm not.
No, fall is technically
October.
September through December. Technically.
I do not believe Matt Luke is getting fired in 2019.
No,
I get there's a scenario that would at least create the type of thing happening for baseball happening in football. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, listen. At the risk of turning this podcast into vitriol, let me ask this question.
Okay.
To you, Ross Bjork.
Am I Ross today?
This moment you are.
We're already doing the...
You've basically fired Andy Kennedy, although Andy fired himself. You replaced him with Kermit Davis, and it worked. Appears to be really working. In this scenario, you dismissed Mike Bianco, and you replaced him with one of the people that we just talked about. And the fans responded with yay, and season tickets went up, and blah, blah, blah. Okay? Football team goes 4-8. Goes 4-8, goes 1-7 in the SEC. what's the justification for not making a move?
The other two sports did not have NCAA craters thrown off in them, and B, while in baseball you can make it happen and it's not going to be a detriment to the point that it can't happen because of that, it's not monopoly money. There's a lot of buyouts. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You just hired these two assistants. You're paying them a ton of money. Who you getting? Is there a joke there?
Well, yeah, I almost answered the who you getting question.
Oh, sorry. Do I know?
Yeah.
Sorry. I know you guys hate us right now.
You absolutely know.
Yeah, I know. But it's the same. It's a difference. Real quick, I need to say this about baseball too. So this ties in. In football, when it gets time to make a decision about that, whenever that is, you always go, hell, they can't afford it. Can you afford not to do it because of ticket sales? Ticket sales are already bad right now.
Okay, so let's play this scenario.
That's kind of my point because, in baseball, I don't think ticket sales are falling off the table. Economically, a change does not make sense.
Right.
But there's so much more to it than that. In football, there is a point where economically things are necessary.
For the record, I agree with you that nothing's happening this year.
No, I get it.
But there is the scenario that would have to play out is a bad start, which is conceivable. I keep telling people this. Everybody goes, well, they're starting off 2-0. I'm like, well, man, I'm going to tell you now, that's going to take an achievement to start off 2-0. Not saying they can't, but if you're willing to go, well, they can start 2-0, okay, well, you have to be willing to say they could start 0-2. And if they were to start 0-2, this thing gets weird with attendance starting the very next week. Southeastern Louisiana comes in on September the 14th. There are not many people at that game. Then Cal comes in a week later, and I don't know what the attendance is for that. It's better, but it's at 1-2. There's a lot of angry people. They go to Alabama, then they come home for Vanderbilt. I'm doing this because I'm trying to show how attendance could dictate a decision. So let's say in this scenario, we're painting a worst case, okay?
Mm-hmm.
0-2, 1-2. Lose to Cal at home, 1-3. Lose at Alabama, 1-4. How many people show up on October the 5th for Vanderbilt? Because Vanderbilt's not bringing anybody. Let's give them a win against Vanderbilt. Go to Missouri and lose. October the 19th, how many people show up for Texas A&M? Not a big crowd, my estimation. Then they get a bye week. They go to Auburn. And then here's the one where I think there's –
yeah, I know where you're going.
I think in this scenario, this is where things, if you're Ross Bjork, you're looking around on November the 9th. And in this scenario, they lose to A&M. They lose at Auburn. New Mexico State, November the 9th. There's nobody there. And there's nobody there. And on November the 16th, you've got 20,000 LSU people in the stands. And it's basically an LSU home game. In that scenario, I don't know what happens. Now, do I think this team's going to crater like that? Honestly, I don't. For whatever reason, I think they're going to be more middle of the road than that. I think they're going to get some of those games that we just talked about. I think they're going to get Memphis or Arkansas or Cal, or maybe they win 2 of those 3 games. I think they beat Vanderbilt. I think they're treading enough water where the crater doesn't happen. But my point is if you're willing to be the guy that goes, okay, Memphis is a win, Arkansas is a win, Southeast Louisiana is a win, Cal's a win. They're 4-0, 4-1 when they play Vanderbilt at home. They beat Vanderbilt 5-1. Okay, if you're willing to do that and give them those games, I think you have to be objective enough to go, they could lose at Memphis. They could lose at home to Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
They could lose to Cal. They could lose at Missouri. They could lose to Texas A&M, where that November the 9th game is the attendance is such that when that senior staff gets together on the Monday morning, people look at each other and go, we know what we have to do here.
Yeah. Moving on. I've answered some of these already. was kind of asking Bubba, was the seminal moment this collapse happened, the timing of the MSU sweep. Yeah, but, I'm going to say that if they don't win this series, Arkansas State or Tennessee even more to me, because with State, it could be as simple as getting beat by a really good team over a 3-game period. That does happen in baseball. It's the not having any ability to bounce back, the seemingly just deadness around them right now. It's more that is what is noticeable to me than just losing to State, because you're coming off. I mean, it was amazing ago. I mean, it's less than 14 days ago or whatever the number is that they took quite a 3 in Baton Rouge. That was really recent.
Yeah.
And yet, and it wasn't, had you beaten Arkansas State and beaten Tennessee last night, they go, well, hey, you had a really bad weekend, but okay.
State's really good,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
It's fine. We can justify that in our minds a little bit.
I think what you can say is if it ends badly, you'll be able to look back and say that the Saturday loss to Mississippi State revealed their fragility.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But real quick before we keep going, the Blue Delta Jeans team will be in Nashville Saturday, the Thompson, Nashville. They'd love to see you. They're offering fittings from 4 to 9 p.m. Send them a direct message on Twitter or Instagram at Blue Delta Jeans, or send them an email, info@bluedeltajeans.com. info@bluedeltajeans.com. And don't forget, if you're wanting them to come out to see you, whether you're in Atlanta or Houston or Nashville or Dallas, wherever the case may be, get in touch with them by one of the methods that I just said, and one of the Blue Delta stylists will get back to you and maybe get you on schedule for a trunk party in your town this summer for your pair of Blue Delta jeans.
This is an interesting question. I think I have an answer that I'm sure that if Mike could change one result in his tenure, which is it? What's your guess for us? Give my answer.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's an easy answer is that right now you would say Tennessee Tech, he'd win one of those games, but that's not what I think is the answer. I think he'd go back and he would win that Virginia series, and they'd go to Omaha in 2009. It would have taken some of that away. Or
Texas.
He beats Texas
the
and wins
very
a national
first
champion.
one in 2005. They were the best team in the country if they beat Texas.
That's the answer.
They win the first one, which gives none of that crap around losing that first one the next year, even against Miami. Where even if you lose the next one to Miami, when Virginia comes to town,
no one's thinking about it.
We're 1-1 in Super Regionals.
It's all good.
It's a big deal.
Right.
All good.
No, that's the answer.
You just it's like we talked about this before, that stupid bad movie Mr. Destiny with Belushi, where to get this great life, or what he perceives to be this great life of riches, it's to change the home run strikeout in high school. Yeah. You got to go from the beginning. You change the very beginning, and that alters everything else.
You have proof of that?
I mean, the exact same third of the movie. If I can go back and do one pitch, it's instead of Jay Brent Cox striking him out, Stephen Head hits the ball over the wall. They win 7-6, and here we go.
Here's proof.
Yep.
Cubs won the World Series in 2016. In 2017, they lost the National League Championship Series, and everybody said, you know what, their pitching kind of faded. No one said, it's the curse. Oh my God. Last year they lose the wild card game, and people said, you know what, maybe they overmanaged. No one said, oh God, maybe it's the curse. Maybe there is a GOAT curse. None of that's crap.
You can make the argument that if they beat Texas in 2005, they actually go to Omaha in 2006 and 2009 too.
Yeah.
Mike coaches a little different. Players play a little different.
Yeah.
Because at that point it was, we always talk about the fan thing. At that point it wasn't anything to do with that. It was just the internal.
Yeah,
it was the internal.
Or when you lose to Miami, if you lose to Miami the next year, people go, you know what, man, they're just loaded.
Yeah,
they got us.
That was John Jay and Jamil Weeks.
Yeah,
and
we'll get them next time.
Yeah,
yeah.
Good series. Good job, guys.
Yeah,
all good. Yeah, I think that's it.
I think you're right.
That is, let's see. There's a question here. I do think this decision / what comes next for Ross, as big as it possibly gets to be involving a baseball program as it pertains to an AD's situation.
No question about it. It's
as much as any baseball decision could hinge on more things, this does.
I wrote this Sunday in 10 Thoughts. I don't know how many people noticed it. He's on the clock, or about to be on the clock. Mike could take him off the clock, I guess, but I think he's about to be on the clock, and it's a big moment for him.
I'm not doing 5. You got a best potato chip that's your favorite, or 2? I know you don't eat them now, but you still can give me an answer.
Yeah.
I really like sour cream and onion potato chips. I know it's an oldie, but a classic.
No, I love the traditional nacho cheese flavored Doritos.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You're more nacho cheese than Cool Ranch?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see.
Grant Williams staying in the draft, by the way. He's got San Antonio Spur written all over him.
Trying to see if there's anything else crazy before I move on. What podcast are you currently listening to?
Ooh, listening to several. I've been listening to some updates on some of the Stitcher stuff. American Scandal, still listening to it. American History Tellers. I've tried the Sports Wars podcast. It's presented by Wondery. I just don't like it. The first one was Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and it comes across as kind of corny. And
does it?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. I'm having a hard time listening to sports podcasts lately. Like even like the Thunder podcast that I normally listen to, I'm way behind.
I can do golf, but I don't know if I do anything else at all, sports-wise. Yeah. I don't know. There's a couple of the questions, but frankly, it's stuff I need to answer on the message board simply because it takes a lot more detail than we kind of have time for at this point of the show. But good questions. I didn't mind them. Went through them. So appreciate those from last night. Again, Ole Miss and Tennessee, 5:30 Central Time today, 6:30 Knoxville time tonight as the Rebels and Volunteers get back at it. And Ole Miss softball starts their regional in Oxford today, playing the Chattanooga Mocs. The other game is SEMO and Louisiana Lafayette in that one. So just giving you a little heads up there. Ole Miss's game is at 6 p.m. The 2-3 seed game is at 3:30. Ole Miss and Chattanooga at 6. Tomorrow, should Ole Miss win, that game is at noon. It looks like, game 1 winner, game 2 winner at noon. And then the championship games are Sunday beginning at 2 p.m. So that is your schedule for the weekend of that. We have more at rebelgrove.com, and we'll talk to you on Monday.